We're going to turn now to one of the most fierce rivalries in international football. It's going to be England and Argentina in the World Cup semi-final on Wednesday. England goalkeeper Jordan Pickford said earlier they were both proud nations. That's an understatement. Here's a reminder of what makes it so special.
Just rejoice at that news and congratulate our forces and the Marines.
Well, joining me now is former Argentinian footballer Matias Fondato, who saw Lionel Messi play as a 9-year-old, and also football writer Guillem Balague, who's written biographies of Messi and that other great Maradona. It is good to see you both. I want to start with you, Matias. What has been the reaction in Argentina, not just to getting through to the semi-final by beating Switzerland, of course, but knowing that it's going to be England once again at a key stage of the Men's World Cup?
Hi. So many emotions in the last couple of days, and the fact that we are playing against England now because of historically being two big national teams, plus all the things that happen in history, like politics and all that stuff. So it makes like a huge clash. So after some emotional day, we're going to bring some more emotions, definitely.
Look, the history is there, and inevitably at this time, and I have to say a lot of people don't like it here, but it happens anyway. People start talking about the Falklands, what you would call Las Malvinas. Does it happen in Argentina as well? Do people start talking about Las Malvinas when they know that the football teams are going to play each other again?
To be honest, I'm not a big fan of it, and I'm quite happy that Scaloni yesterday in a press conference spoke about that. I think it was after the question of somebody who was trying to mention anything about that. He was like, listen, it's just a game of football. Let's stop there. It's just a game of football. And I totally agree with him. I don't think it's good to mix all the stuff. But the majority of the fans have this kind of, mainly the old people who lived through that period of time.
Yes.
Are, it happened in the '86. It's probably going to happen again. People put that things in the middle, and I'm not a big fan of it, but it happens.
But also, Matias, just one more on this. Perhaps people don't realise there's a lot more that connects the UK to Argentina. I'm thinking about people speaking Welsh in Patagonia. I'm thinking about your old club, Newell's Old Boys, which is, of course, named after an Englishman. There's a lot more connection there than people might realise.
But 100%. Actually, I have a big one. I lived 8 years in England. I have English residence. So imagine I'm very, very connected to the country. So there are so many positive things. But, history sometimes speaks by itself, unfortunately, with some unfortunate facts that we cannot avoid, So, but as I said, I'm not a big fan of that.
But something we're not going to avoid, Guillem, is the hand of God. And really, when it comes to footballing rivalry, Mexico '86 in the Azteca, which is obviously where England just beat Mexico, probably one of the greatest goals of all time scored by Maradona, legitimately, and then one of the most controversial goals scored ever with the hand of God as well. People don't forget that kind of thing in a hurry.
Matias is a pacifist, and he doesn't want to say some of the things that actually are happening. The players of Argentina, after the game against Switzerland, started singing, "Whoever doesn't jump is an Englishman," which is a way. It's the pantomime victim of many Argentinians is England, but also it refers to those that are not them. Separates them from the others. And in songs, in flags, in tattoos, Maradona is everywhere. The Falklands are everywhere. Because if Argentina have got something, see if Matias agrees, is, people say that football is the most important thing of the least important things. For Argentinians, it's the most important thing of the most important things. And also is a very rich country with a great history. But along the way, they haven't been able to reach that greatness that they expected. So when they have somebody like Maradona, like Messi, reaching the top of the world, not only they embrace it, they're kind of saying, this is where we belong. This is where we are.
But Guillem, as an outsider to both countries, really, do you think they're similar in that way? Of course, Argentina, very rich country, amazing exports in terms of its wine and famous for its beef and all of those kind of things, of course, and its culture as well. And England, Britain, really, is sort of, it's defined by former glories, I suppose. People might throw back to the empire of the 19th century, and we don't have that kind of thing anymore here. So do you think they're both similar in that respect of thinking they are a bigger deal than they actually are these days?
They both feel special countries. Who doesn't in a way, but they feel really, really special. And in the case of Argentina, they like to separate themselves from the rest of Latin America. They say they are Argentinians, are Italians who speak Spanish, who would like to be English and would like to live in Paris. So they got this European side about them, which is not like the rest of Latin Americans. And it comes from that, the sense that they are a bit different. That means that they've abandoned some of the parts of the history and they feel, very special. And also they come to defend the World Cup, not to win it, to defend it. It's theirs. And football is coming home as well. So let's see who wins out of those two.
Do you know what? No one successfully defended a World Cup since 1962, when Argentina's arch rivals, Brazil, managed that. So that's a big task. But Matias, look, when we asked Guillem before the show to sum up the four teams in the semi-finals, who are the four highest-rated teams in the world at the moment, he said England are two world-class players on form. But let's be honest, Argentina are just the greatest player to ever play the game and no one else in Lionel Messi.
Yeah, that's true. And we have another one who just woke up the last game, which is Julian Alvarez, who had like a great season, but during the World Cup, because he came from an injury, he was a little bit like trying to find his form. But as you said, we have the best one, not because I say it, just because everyone could see it with 39 years old, the things he's been doing in this World Cup, and hopefully, he keeps going in this next game.
You saw him as a 9-year-old. Was it immediately obvious even then just how good he was going to be?
It was even more surprising because he was so tiny. He could see him like dribbling like everyone and scoring 2-3 goals every game and being like, I don't know, much smaller than the other players. So it's the same than now, but imagine like a little kid against kids taller than him.
It is remarkable, Guillem, isn't it? We've seen obviously Cristiano Ronaldo at this World Cup, and it was his last World Cup. He said that, but the fact that Messi can keep going at 39, and he isn't just turning up, he is dictating games, albeit not against the truly world-class teams in a way that others have had to play against at this World Cup so far.
The last 4 competitions Argentina played with Messi at the front of it, with a context that allows Messi to shine, with everybody recognizing his leadership. The last 4 competitions they played, they won. The last 3 times they've been in a semi-final, they've gone through. So they've beaten everybody that they needed to beat. Okay, it hasn't been a difficult route to the stage they're in, and they struggled against Cabo Verde, they struggled against Egypt and Switzerland as well. Guess what? They found a way. And I've calculated that out of the last 15 extra times that they had to do in World Cup competitions or Copa Americas, out of 15, 11 they've gone through. So, okay, we look at them and we think, yes, they dare to be beaten, but they seem to find a way. And right now, the only way they play is let's make sure that nothing happens, and let's get the ball to Messi and see if he can come up with something. Otherwise, we've got Plan B, which is Julian Alvarez, which is not too bad. So I wouldn't underestimate this side that doesn't impress, doesn't shine with the football, but they've got the best player in the world.
He is. And Alexis McAllister is good. And you're right about Alvarez, who apparently Arsenal are trying to sign. I have to say, just before we go, I've seen Messi play in the flesh twice. I saw him lost against Kaká's Brazil when they played in London in the 2000s. That was an amazing game when he was young. And I also seem to remember watching him play against Liverpool at Anfield in the Champions League when they lost 4-0. So who knows? It could be an omen. I hate to say it, Matias, but it could be an omen. Whatever happens, it's going to be an amazing occasion. And when these two countries meet, it's very special. And we're grateful to you both for talking to us about it. Thank you very much indeed.